It's a place that hangs on to its small town charm, yet it's ever changing and a quickly developing part of our community. It's literally where the sea meets the sky. It's downtown Squamish, and it's where you live. Over 100 years ago, the original town site of Newton was complete, and its new name, Squamish, was adopted. It's come a long way over the years, but you can still find remnants of the past around town. Today, I'm going to be exploring downtown Squamish, and first up, I'm going to talk to someone that should know it really well, because she's the mayor. I'm here with Squamish Mayor Patricia Heintzman. So Patricia, you have been a Squamish resident for quite some time, but you're not originally from here. Tell me about that.
No, I wasn't born here. So I've lived here 25 years. I got here in January 1993, but I grew up in Montreal, was born in Toronto, lived in Quebec City, but ended up here.
And how did you end up in Squamish?
I actually got a job with the Squamish Chief newspaper, and I was in Revelstoke in journalism. I just finished traveling the globe, traveling Canada, and in my travels I came to Squamish with a friend to hike the Chief, and we camped out at the bottom of the Chief, and I thought, this is pretty much the coolest place to be. As they say, the rest is history. I've been here 25 years.
Nice. What was your first impression of downtown Squamish when you got here in 1993?
Well, my first impression was from just the downtown itself. It's this kind of underrated, cute, charming little place. Once I realized how integral the ocean was to Squamish, I really thought it's got everything. But the downtown, of course, I think was underrealized at that point. Obviously, some people really like a lower key downtown. I personally like to see that vibrancy in that commercial area. So, yeah, I always thought it was great.
Yeah. And what was the biggest change that you saw happen to the downtown over your years here?
Well, certainly just in the last couple of years, you're starting to see development come in. For the longest time, the downtown really had very little activity, very little renewal. About 12, 13 years ago, you started to see that happen, but it seemed like it was starting, and then it really went dormant for, I think there was one new building built in downtown in the first 10 years of me being on council. So that's from 2005 to 2 years ago. In the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of development applications come downtown. You're starting to see the Mamquam Blind Channel be developed. When I first got here, the Mamquam Blind Channel was predominantly log sorts. And the access for people to the water, to the ocean front, to the Mamquam Blind Channel was very limited. There was only a very small yacht club, for example, and the rest of it was mostly an industrial waterfront. So that whole vernacular has changed absolutely in the community.
And what are your feelings on there being so much development? Like, some people are pretty opposed to it and some people are really for it. What do you think on a whole how that's going to affect Squamish?
Well, certainly what's happening, particularly in the downtown, has been part of the vision for the downtown for easily 20 years. I think even in the 90s, there was this goal that downtown would become sort of the cultural hub of the community, the economic hub of the community. That vision has been there for 20 years. I think that vision is just finally being sort of manifesting today. And you can look at a whole bunch of catalysts that have created that change. I think the Highway Improvement Project massively changed the accessibility to town, the safety of the highway, and the proximity to Vancouver. It became much more accessible, and people started to invest in Squamish. So you started to see the idea of it change sort of in the 2005 era to 2008, economic downturn, a bit of a hangover after the Olympics, and then shortly thereafter, in 2015 predominantly, you really started to see that increase in interest in the downtown. So if you look at the trajectory of the downtown over 20, 25 years, and you average out what's happening in a certain time span, even the last 10 years, it's actually pretty slow, if not stagnant. And the thing we're seeing now is the ramping up. It's almost like that pent-up potential is now coming out. And change is always hard for people, and I think particularly people in government understand that change is difficult for people. And you, as you evolve and as things change, you are hit with challenges that you didn't anticipate, or you thought you anticipated, but there's degrees to which it, starts to manifest. So it's just a really hard thing to do. But I think ultimately the vision for this vibrant cultural economic center has been around for decades.
And you're really seeing it, like you said, really taking place now. When you walk around just outside the skirts of the Cleveland Avenue, and you're seeing all these lots being developed, and the construction is happening, and they're working on the road, kind of near the waterfront there. So lots of changes. It's very exciting. Do you think that if someone comes back to visit us in like 10, 15 years, that they'll recognize the area? Is it going to be completely different?
It will be completely different. You'll see the Manquam-Blind Channel will likely be predominantly built out. You'll have quite a bit of development happening on the oceanfront lands, which of course used to be a chemical plant. So that whole thing is profoundly different, and there's very little there right now. Within the downtown, and this is some of the deliberation and the real struggle that we have right now, is we want to make sure we keep that fine-grainedness of your high street, of your main street, so you're not overbearing, so you still have sunlight coming in there. And so we're really trying to grapple with how do we ensure the viability of the downtown while still maintaining a little bit of that small town character and charm and that fine grainness of small shops as opposed to big big developments that encompass a whole block. So
because the main street there, I mean, it really does have that beautiful small town personality. And is that the reason why you see so many film crews shooting down there?
Yeah, absolutely. We tend to be Alaska and Washington State or small town America or small town Canada. And because we're so close to the city and all the talent within the film industry, we're just a natural selection for them. And obviously, I don't think you want to necessarily maintain your downtown look just to keep film here, but we do want to maintain that character. I don't know how to articulate it better than sort of that fine grain where you've got little shops, and you have an eclectic sort of commercial scene going on there, as opposed to more homogenous or contrived commercial scene. So we're really grappling right now on what policies we need to put in place to make sure we don't necessarily have 6-story buildings all the way down the main street. Maybe our height is on 2nd and 3rd Avenue and on different areas as opposed to on Main Street, and we keep that sort of individuality, that uniqueness of those couple blocks right in that area.
Well, that's the best thing about downtown. Do you have a favorite store downtown or a favorite spot that you like to visit?
I definitely go to the Zephyr. My new favorite spot is the Green Olive. They just have their sandwiches, and I'm addicted to one of their salads there. I love all the secondhand stores, and I think that's a real sort of unique kind of. We actually have groups of women that come up from the city. There's event planners that do that and bring them up to Squamish's Main Street to shop all the secondhand stores and sort of the little curio. And they come and they drink wine and they shop and they go to the shoe store and they go to all these other places.
Yeah,
so
that's really fun.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Right. Is there anything you're looking forward to in the future for the downtown specifically?
Well, I think we want to really get it to a point where we have enough people that you can create the vibe here downtown, and you enable more of the restaurants and that type of amenity in the downtown area. And we actually have the density of people that create more cultural opportunities, whether it's arts centers and music and all that sort of thing, and really create this kind of vibrant area. We're still going to have these outlying neighborhoods that have a different conversation going on, but the downtown really becomes this hub. And that interface with the ocean, I think that's what makes downtown, some people say, well, our downtown should be in the business park, or downtown should be in the Highlands. They don't have the ocean. The ocean is what makes the downtown magical, and this proximity to the Chief and the ocean and the downtown and the estuary makes this a really unique epicenter for the community that I don't think you achieve on a strip mall on the highway or in the business park. It's really that connection with the ocean and that dramaticness of these mountains that come down to the ocean right in our downtown, and this unique ecosystem with the estuary. We have to be really sensitive about how we treat the environment around our downtown, because the estuary is a gem, and we underappreciate it, and its biodiversity and its incubation of salmonids and all the things that feed that system is what feed the orcas and the whales and all that. So we have to be really mindful of making sure we preserve that in perpetuity. But I think we can have a downtown that's vibrant and respectful of that. And I just think the downtown is where that all those things crossroad, and that uniqueness is really evident.
Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. So thank you so much
Good.
for chatting with me today
My
about
pleasure.
downtown Squamish. I agree. I think it's a very special place. And you know, Patty is right. There are so many unique shops located downtown for treasure hunting. So that's what we're going to do coming up next. One of the best things about downtown Squamish is the variety of fun little shops where you can go treasure hunting. So whether you're looking for a designer dress over at the consignment shop or searching through the sky-high piles of everything under the sun over at the flea market, you're bound to find something pretty special. I'm here at Pearl's Value in Vintage, which is another one of these very special little shops downtown that carries all sorts of cool things to go treasure hunting for. And I'm here with Kate from the House Sound Women's Center, which is the charity directly involved with Pearl's Value in Vintage. Welcome to the show, Kate.
Thank you so much for having me.
So Pearl's, I heard it was named after someone. Can you tell me a bit about her?
Absolutely. Her name was Pearl Suster, and she was a very generous woman who took women and children who were fleeing violence into her own home before the House Sound Women's Center was founded.
Okay. And where did she come up with the idea to have a little vintage shop to support?
Well, originally it was the ladies who founded the Women's Center, and the Women's Center was founded 36 years ago now, and there was 3 ladies who started us, and that was Marie McKinney and Diane Fox and Melanie Croston. And these ladies started the House Sound Women's Center, and they realized that there's no way they'd ever be able to keep their doors open and offer all the services if they didn't have some funding, because there was no government funding for a drop-in center, and that's how they came up with the idea of Pearls.
Okay. And how long has Pearl's been downtown?
We've been downtown 17 years. Our first 10 years were on 2nd Avenue, where we were originally called Pearl's Seconds, and then we've been here on Cleveland since 2011.
And you've expanded since you've been
That's
in this
right,
location.
yes. When I first started in 2011, we were just in this one half of the store, and then in June of that year, we then took over the second half here and did a big expansion.
Which is great because it's totally full, like wall
Yes.
to wall.
It's very full, always.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what kind of things are you looking for to be donated for the store?
For Pearls, what we accept for donations is gently used clothing, housewares, furniture. As you can see, we take books, toys, linens, children's, baby items. We do audiovisual as well, so lots of stuff.
And what are the hot ticket items? Like, what are the things that I guess people are looking for the most, but also maybe the things that you require in the shop the most?
The things that people, I would say the hot ticket items that go are the vintage items, anything antique people love, and also housewares. People love to do home decor, or people say renovating and wanting to do a furnished suite. Come in, get everything they need from Pearls, and some of them even bring in photos and show us, what they've done, and it's amazing.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
And the staff here, they're so friendly, they're so nice. Are they all volunteers?
We have 15 to 17 active volunteers and 2 full-time staff and 6 part-time staff. And it takes an enormous amount of people to do what we do, because every day the volume of donations that we receive is massive, and that's thanks to the generous community of Squamish. So it takes a lot of people and a lot of physical labor to get done what they do every day, and to organize it and merchandise it and sort it, and they do an amazing job, so we're very grateful.
And the funds that you raise through the selling of all these donations, what does it go towards?
So the main source for Pearls that we fund is our drop-in center on 3rd Avenue here in town, and that really is our hub. That is our it's where everything happens. It's our crisis intervention, it's counseling, it's support services, it's advocacy for women and children who are fleeing violence, and also for women who are at a risk of homelessness.
What other programs do you run at House Sound Women's Center?
There's lots.
Yeah.
There's some really amazing programs. So what we do, we have our Pearls Place Transition House here in Squamish, and that's for women and children fleeing violence. We have the Pearls Safe Home in Pemberton also, and then we have multicultural outreach programs. We also offer counseling for children who witness abuse. For families going through separation and difficult divorce, we offer services for them. We do violence prevention at the high school level, which is amazing, so youth prevention and violence. We have a sexual assault coordinator. We do prevention programs around that. We also have an amazing emergency voucher program, so anyone can walk into the Women's Centre or Helping Hands in town and say, I need things from Pearls and I need them at no cost. So then we write them a voucher and they come in here and they get what they need, and we fund that program of around $10,000 a year.
Wow.
And lastly, there's an amazing program also when women who are leaving our transition house and who are wanting to set up their own home, which is very expensive, can make an appointment with me here at Pearls, and then we give them furniture, housewares, linens, children's items, whatever they need to set up their home.
That's so amazing. Everything
It
coming
is.
out of this cool little
Yes.
shop.
All from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Why do you think that Pearls is just such a good fit for downtown? What is
I
it
love that
about?
question.
It seems just like a perfect fit here.
It is. I think Pearls is a great fit for downtown Squamish. I think we're such a community hub. I mean, there's so many people that love coming here. We're a great fit, whether it's for seniors. Sometimes we're just looking for a friendly face and something to do. I mean, the store's kind of big enough that you can wander around and chat to people and not feel out of place. I think we're a remarkable example of volunteerism. We keep an enormous amount of goods out of the landfill every year, and there's just great people here, friendly faces, and there's a new thing to see every day. So.
Well, it's such a good vibe in here. I love a little treasure hunt, and I would love to support what you guys are doing over at the House Sound Women's Center. So
Thanks, Kristy.
I hope you don't mind if I maybe take a little look around before we leave today.
I'm sure you'll find something here.
Thanks so much, Kate.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
And Pearls Value and Vintage is actually one of the stops on the Squamish Heritage Walking Tour that starts right here in downtown. And coming up, I'll be chatting to someone from the Squamish Historical Society about the walking tour and more about the history of downtown Squamish. And that's coming up after the break. So I'm here with the president and founder of the Squamish Historical Society. This is Bianca Peters. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we want to talk a bit about the historical walking tour. It's a self-guided tour that you guys have set up right here in downtown Squamish. So tell me a bit about the tour.
Sure. So in 2014, we were celebrating a milestone for Squamish, and we decided to tie together a plaque program that had been put together by the Downtown Squamish BIA and the Squamish Historical Society about 8 years previous. And so if you walk around downtown Squamish, you'll find on the buildings that there are plaques that tell you what happened in that location between 1888 and present day.
So we're on the corner of Cleveland and Winnipeg. This is kind of like the kickoff point. So you can come down, you can check out the sign and get an idea of where all the plaques are and then go out looking for them.
Absolutely.
So I was hoping that maybe today you could take me to a couple of your favorite spots on the tour and we could check them out.
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it.
do it.
Okay, so we're downtown Squamish doing the self-guided historical walking tour, and we're just kitty corner from the actual starting point at Cleveland and Winnipeg. So Bianca, tell me, what's the meaning of this spot where we are right now?
Well, let's start off by telling you that a little known fact about Squamish is that people could only get here from the 1800s until 1958 when the highway went in by boat. So people would take the boat. This one is the Burt, and this was Masheter's Landing, okay? Some people think that people went to the ocean front right away. No, no, no. That was a deep port, very dangerous, Howe Sound. So what people would do is come up the Mamcombe Blind Channel, and they'd have to wait for the tides. And this was where Masheter had set up a post office, a little hotel, and his home. And Masheter was a pioneer. So this is the Burt, and this picture depicts the pioneer families that came here in 1888, and a lot of their descendants are still here today. Until 1902, when the port at the oceanfront came in, this is the only way in and out of Squamish. And it would take people weeks to get into Squamish, and people say they had to bring their own bed. So you think when you drive up that highway that it's pretty quick? Yeah, well, coming up by a boat,
Yeah.
And this was the Burt, and it was replaced by the Britannia, and then there were further ferries that came.
All right, very cool. And it's just right close to like where we are right downtown.
Exactly.
It's right here.
Can you believe it? Right there.
All right, let's go to the next spot.
Thank you.
So we're at the second stop of our little walking tour of downtown Squamish here, and we're at the corner of 2nd and Victoria, right in front of the Hotel Squamish. So what's the meaning of this stop on the tour?
Well, in 1909 to 1913, there was a development boom because of the railway line that went in Squamish, and so they needed hotels. And this hotel was built in 1910. It was called the King George at the time, and it was later called the Hotel Squamish.
Awesome. And you know, it's developed, it changed over the years. Right now we've got a nice little restaurant, liquor store, and the hotel itself. And it's great because the little sign for the tour is right there in front, so you can read a little bit about it. And I heard that there was an entrance for women and an entrance for men. Is
That's
that right?
right. Back in the day, we had to separate the women from the men. So there was an entrance for the women and an entrance for the men, and they both stayed on both sides of the bar. And another good thing is there was the Oceanport Hotel, and some of your viewers might remember the Oceanport Hotel because it was quite an interesting place. It was a lot of fun, and as well as that, some people might not recognize the Squamish Hotel now because it used to be painted up with an ocean scene.
That's right.
By Skoda.
Yeah, very cool. Well, that's a neat stop on the tour. So what's your favorite part about downtown Squamish?
Well, of course, it's the shopping and the eating downtown, but from a historical point of view, my heart is after the Squamish Arts Council building. It was built by the Rotary Club a few years ago for the Squamish Chamber of Commerce, and that's where the Royal Hudson would come Monday to Friday at lunch. And that's a steam engine that would come up from North Van to Squamish and then go back again and bring tourists every day. And so it's also downtown, and the district of Squamish has made those parks very beautiful, and it's where the heart of the community is, and you'll be there on Canada Day and all sorts of events that take place downtown.
Yeah. Well, it's such an interesting spot that we have right here downtown, and a great place for our community to gather and celebrate. And there's so much history too. So thanks so much for joining us today. Really appreciated you taking me on a bit of the tour here. If you're interested in taking the Squamish Heritage Walking Tour, the kickoff point is at Cleveland and Winnipeg, and that's where you can learn more and walk around downtown Squamish and learn about its history by reading all of the wonderful signage that they have put up here. And you know, this area is changing a lot. It's developing drastically, and it will be over these coming years. But I think one of the best ways that we can preserve its personality is to get out there and support the local businesses right here in downtown Squamish. If you'd like to see more videos just like this, you can head on over to our YouTube or our Facebook pages. For Shaw Television, I'm Kristy Aleksich. Have a good one.